So level one, initiation one, meditation. That's the first time someone, again, in all these scenes, they never ever mentioned that the spine was the aerial to receive the frequency, the energy from God, and at a right angle, your spine, spine being straight, and to sway to find that kind of spotlight, the stream entry, as the Buddhists call it. Nobody was ever seeing these important details, specifically with just meditation, just the basics. Also, when you're sitting on cushions, if you've got 2 or 3 cushions, square cushions lined up, the point goes under your base chakra so that it's comfortable for your knees to rest either side. That's really important for a comfortable meditation position. So again, all these different scenes, apparently experts in spirituality had never mentioned that until I found Enhancement meditation. So yeah, the straight spine is extremely important. That was making, like, the better your position, the more energy you get. It's like plugging into, like a mobile phone plugging into a wall. You know, I know a lot of people in the world, they say, meditation just didn't work for me. Well, technically, just sitting there staring at the dark space, that will get you so far, but you need more than that. So level 1 initiation 1 meditation, basically you're doing what is called samadhi, because you're connecting to a higher energy and bringing that down. So you're not just sitting there, what feels to most people like doing nothing. You're actually purposely plugging in and getting energy. There's actually a purpose to your 20 minutes or an hour of thoughtlessness. You're actually charging up. That energy charges up mind, body, spirit, everything. And you know, like the law of attraction people remind us that the source makes infinite. There is infinite for everyone, and it can accommodate. So from source comes infinite physical things for everybody, infinite thoughts, infinite IQ, infinite everything. So the source can charge up all areas of your life. So yeah, I started meditating. So level 1 initiation 1 meditation. Level 1 initiation to the microcosmic orbit. So using the air and fire to go one way around your meridian channels, and then water to go the other way, and then you kind of, it's like flossing your chakras back and forth. I personally found a stomach blockage with this technique. So this was the start of really finding big blockages in my soul. I think the importance of finding big blockages is to truly know yourself. You can get so many of these spiritual teachers, and on Facebook I find lately it's so easy to trigger them, and then all their shadow comes out and they get all offended, and it's like they don't know themselves at all. I could show you half of themselves, like there's a half of themselves they run from. They don't know themselves much, I don't think. So there's so many of these amazing spiritual teachers that you could probably easily provoke and trigger, and then you find half of the stuff that their shadow side is another half of them. Every bit of your shadow side is another part of you to discover and understand why it's a shadow side. Behind every blockage is a big lesson. So yeah, with the microcosmic orbit technique, I found a big stomach blockage, which I then used the next technique. Level 1 initiation 3, the alchemy, to help transmute. I found I had a shallow breathing blockage, and I think stomach's to do with power, anger, many other and I also had physical stomach problems too. So I was playing with blockage grounding, using alchemy as a way to start understanding blockage grounding. And again, in none of these scenes did anyone ever understand alchemy. If you go on the internet, try and understand what alchemy is. These, esoteric groups, occult groups, they're like engineers. They describe things in ways you just find difficult to understand. There was never this clear understanding until I found this course. So again, all these supposed spiritual...
So, tell us about alchemy.
Yeah.
What is it?
It is it's transforming negative energy into positive energy via the alchemical flame in the center of the earth. Or if you want to see it more in more of a scientific way, like negative energy via the electromagnetic energy in the center of the earth, the positive energy. So metal into gold. The code was metal into gold, and that translation was lost, and people misunderstood. I think there are still people today who think alchemy is still a physical thing, getting gold from metal. And I remember at one course I was on, and they were trying to push this idea of white gold, like taking droplets of white gold, because that would crystalline to the inside of your body. And so still, they didn't understand what it. Well, I don't know. They might be poisoning themselves. I'm not sure, but it's a miracle, and it's a very important idea. This idea of alchemy, because most people think you have to have good and evil, like it's separate, like you can't exist one without the other. Like technically, yeah, you point out white because there's something black, but you can transform evil into good through love or a high energy source. And that's a very big important thought form, because a lot of Satanists are into duality, like they can only have real joy when they've done something really evil. Like they have a schizo duality, but you can transmute negative energy into positive energy, evil into love, or anger into whatever. So, also, I was interested that some religions touch on very important techniques, and they each have a bit of the puzzle towards enlightenment. They start off really good. Like each religion, I think, is like, they're like, to me, I see them like fruits, like they ripe, they get really good, and they go bad, they get taken over by, bugs or bad parasites or whatever. So in Christianity, I noticed something interesting. So they say a man with sin goes to a fire in the center of the earth, and they put this evil twist on it. Oh, there's eternal damnation, judgment, blah, 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 really painful stuff, which they use as a control mechanism. Most religions are like businesses and control mechanisms. But notice that's very similar to an actual truth, which is alchemy. A man with sin or negative energy goes to a fire in the center of the earth, the alchemical flame. But what they don't say is that they then transmute their negative energy into positive energy and go from evil to angel. They don't point that out. I thought the similarity was interesting. The Christianity has almost a nugget of the truth there. I know there's more bits in Christianity that are really good, like Jesus' energy is amazing, but a lot of the religions have a really important bit of truth which they've twisted, and there's a mistranslation over time. So yeah, alchemy is similar to this concept of hell, but they've completely misunderstood it, in my opinion, or purposely twisted it to control people. Initiation 4, again, these scenes weren't talking about how important the higher, because they only talk about the 7 chakras in all these other courses. Only this course where I discovered, I did see some diagrams, but even those were limited. They only went to a certain chakra, but of course the top chakra really is God or infinite source. So level 1 initiation 4, macrocosmic orbit. That I think is a technique which everybody in the planet should be using. When people think of meditation, they really should be doing samadhi, which is we have the higher chakras, soul, monad, logos, Sirius, avatar, synthesis to infinity, which is a ladder to get to infinity. So it's like a toy to start with to get to the infinite points. You're more comfortable to getting there. There's many different ladders, but this is the one on this course. And most people don't realize that your beam of energy goes infinite up and infinite down. And of course, in these New Age scenes, they're only doing psychic protection around the 7 chakras. They completely forget about the infinite up and down. I never heard anyone mention, oh, by the way, cover your infinite up and down. They're actually almost the most important things, the top down and bottom up. So they're only protecting a tiny weeny bit of themselves when they talk about their chakras. So yeah, the infinite chakras up and down. You plug into source, like a mobile phone plugs into the wall and charges up. You have to do that every day, and it feeds all areas of your life. That's where the energy comes from. With my experience with samadhi is... well, you can get more charisma, more physical energy, definitely a higher IQ. I could think more. I actually, when I was going to the gym, I was doing a lot more in the gym than the average person, purely because I was doing samadhi in my spare time, which most people don't know about. So this technique's actually good for sportsmen and athletes, although, that's a bit of like an ego thing to use it for, but it's definitely something that improves all areas of life because energy is used in all areas of life. I mean, I don't understand why, Satanists and occultists, they decide to cut themselves off from this higher source and then take energy from God's creatures, whereas they could just get their energy from the higher source. It makes no sense to just take limited energy from random people or kids about. They could just have infinite energy themselves, just plug in. It makes no sense.
Because they are in competition with God.
So samadhi feels very blissful, and of course it brings up blockages. Like having a massive shower of energy can bring up blockages. Like putting water in a pool, it disturbs the pebbles at the bottom and they can float to the surface. And yeah, it feels amazing to sit there for 1, 2, 3 hours. If your legs go numb, then that was interesting. The legs going numb. One time I grounded with a later technique, 7-stepping technique, grounded the legs, and they didn't feel numb anymore, which I was fascinated by because I always thought, it's the blood stopping or something like that. But I grounded them and they felt normal, and I could continue longer. So that was really interesting because it's blockages. Like when you meditate, it's a posture on the base chakra. It's like a tension, a good stress on the base chakra. So yeah, level 1, and then level 1 initiation 5, the energy projection to test food. That was really interesting because I went into a health food shop in England, and it's meant to be a health food shop, and you go in there and you energy test stuff, and 70% of it, in my opinion, went down, which is really bad for something that's meant to be a health food shop. So, and of course, the eugenic supermarkets, most of the stuff goes down in there. I mean, there's some things you're eating that are actually plastic, like margarine. It's actually plastic and it should be illegal. There's so many health people saying these things. Like, we're so stupid to assume the people in charge of the world are caring about what we consume. They would rather we died early, probably, because they want less people on the planet. But, yeah, it's amazing what they allow a human to consume and what is safe and what's okay for a kid and what's okay for an adult, and etc. So energy projection, sending that beam of light to things to test if it goes up or down. It was really interesting. It's good to sometimes energy test people. Like if you watch someone on YouTube a lot, maybe energy test them, and then you can discover a lot more about them. Later on your psychic skills your psychic sensitivity might improve, so you can see their ins and outs a lot easier. But energy testing movies is extremely important. I mean, there was a movie I saw a year ago. They're making a series of them. I mean, I think at the moment, compared to how I was like 14 years ago, I'm way more advanced grounding and all the rest. And even this movie I saw, which was a horror movie, because I was interested in energy enhancement and how it can work with ground ghosts or paranormal stuff. So I was watching one of the famous recent ghost movies, and the director, I think, is either evil or an idiot, because he's purposely making movies about extremely evil spirits that do actually exist on the planet. And I took about 3 days to ground my energy after watching that movie, and I think the director's purposely connecting to sick evil spirits, which are very hard to ground. I had to just ground my detachment from it. I couldn't touch the actual thing. But imagine people not aware of spirituality watching these movies. They're getting genuinely destroyed over time. They're going to get scratched and scratched and scratched over time. So even the guy who makes these disgusting movies called Hostel, which are about snuff movies, he made a kids movie, and I was dumb enough to not check the director of this movie, and it turned out to be him. Afterwards I realized, that was a really bad plan. But the trailer looks lovely and fluffy, magical. It's called House of a Clock in its Walls. It's only a PG-13, and the trailer, of course, doesn't mention it has necromancy, blood magic, all the disgusting occult symbols, and all these books trying to provoke kids to try black magic, and the BBFC was completely happy for kids to watch this movie at PG-13. So it's good for you as a parent to energy test movies before your kids watch them, because they're energetically sensitive, and it's extremely important that you don't mess their energy up at an early age.
You can use initiation number 5, the same than the taste of food, to test the...
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you can energy test movies, food, people, anything. If it goes up, then it's touched by God. If it goes down, there's something negative energy in it. If it's a food and it's going down, maybe you can clear the negative energy. It happens to be good food, but you just can clear the negative energy from it. Or it contains pesticide, and that's why it's going down. Maybe you can save it with vinegar or baking soda, but yeah. But at least it gives you a heads up on anything and everything. You can also charge up with gods and goddesses or angels, ascended masters, send light to them, and they might send you loads of light back. That's really nice. And you can test whether your spirit guides are real or not. I dropped half my, because I was into the New Age scene at the time, I dropped half my spirit guides because I don't think they were actually that good. So all this time the New Age people are like, tune into this one, tune into that one, and God knows what they're actually tuning into. I remember some story of a priest. He was a satanic priest who took an initiation, and they have to become a Christian priest. So then but obviously nobody knows that, and then they take over the church, and then he called his demon Jesus, and so had every Sunday all these people feeding his demon because he called it Jesus. So you have to actually check what you're sending energy to. Level 1, 6, 7, 8 are psychic protection techniques. I had heard of Merkaba technique from other New Age courses. That's quite popular at the moment. It's all Egyptian, I think, and people are interested in it. But the Power Tower technique, again, emphasizing protection of infinite up and infinite down. Most New Age scenes just protect your 7 chakras because they're not aware of the infinite up and down. So that technique was powerful. The construct with the spiritual symbol on top, even more powerful. I really like going invisible because it can really give you a sense of peace. Empaths would really love this technique because they really need to shut out energies. If they're super sensitive, walk through a supermarket, you can get really energetically jittery afterwards if you're an empath. And so these protection techniques are probably the best that I've ever seen. I'm yet to discover better. I think they're the best. So empaths would love these techniques, and I bet some people would find it fascinating who they really are once you shut the whole energetic realm out, because it's such a peaceful state to do that. And I mean, I last year, to show you how important psychic protection is, last year I think I went to a shopping mall, and I hadn't been there before. And it was, first time I went there, or maybe, I don't know, second time, but this time I had a proper look at everything. I wanted to know, what was in the kids' arcade, what are they playing these days, what's in this shop, what's in that shop, blah, blah, blah. So I was going in and out of this whole place. And then I come home, and I forget to check my energy, like the before and after, to check if I picked anything up. And then normal day, went to bed. And then in my dreams, that was the first red flag. So I don't usually dream unless I get spiritual messages or I've picked up negative energy and it's starting to make images. It's like cloudiness in the head making images. And the characters in my dream, one of them's face goes really evil. And I go, shit, this is not good, because it has to be really strong to be able to do that in my dreams. And then another character, different vibration but still bad, did something similar. So I picked up 2 really bad blockages or entities or spirits from going around the mall. Like, the light side of that is the mall's now a lot brighter place, but I was it took me like at least half an hour of 7-stepping to get rid of these. And imagine someone, again, who doesn't know anything about spirituality, genuinely picking up really evil spirits, because for me they were really strong. Imagine how messed up their life is, just one going to this mall to and not being able to clear it. I was able to clear it, and I was really lucky. But that's how important psychic protection can be. That would have been saved if I had done the power towers and the construct. But you know, the light side of that is I cleared that place and no one else had to take that on, but still I could have escaped a bad energy if I had used the protection.